Welcome to X4 Split Vendetta. New extension to X4 Foundations. This is DLC basically, and expands the game, much larger in terms of sectors apparently, but they haven't told us exactly how many. Split playable race, new game starts, and no doubt lots of other stuff in the game, including some more story missions and everything else. So to get started, obviously we have a new game. For the new game starts, there are two of them. One is rebelling against the government, the other one is working for the government of Split, the Patriarch as they call it. If you don't know who Split are, they're kind of like the Klingons, I think, if I remember rightly, of the X universe. They basically will start a fight over nothing, and they're a warrior race, and sort of like, Split has stick, Split will hit you with stick. They're not the most cerebral of races. Regardless, we're going to start with a new game and roll dodgy voice acting now.
The Great Jump Gate shutdown plunged many lesser civilizations into chaos. As fringe families of the Ronkar Patriarchy started losing their sectors, Great Ronkar Tinkent, Patriarch of all Split, ignored his subjects' demands for relief. Instead, he chose to stay silent, arming himself against the inevitable rebellion. When the network ultimately unraveled, our people persevered. Liberated from cruel imperial taxation, we free families could finally rebuild our realms, each under the reign of our own patriarch. Now the gates have reconnected, and the oppression of old has returned. Zyarth, claiming to be patriarch of all Split, is invading our realms to enrich himself on our economy and purge our identity. This, the free patriarchs will not allow.
And we're going to start that.
My patriarch, Pig, joined the coalition of free families to face the Zyarth Armada. I have the great honor of leading our squadron of fighters under my commander, Kink, and by Gao, I will make my family proud.
Maybe. See, this is our ship. This is the one we're setting off. And it's not long for this world, I'm afraid. So this is very much split ships and split stations. Sort of remind me of Minmatar in EVE Online. Lots of exposed machinery, very angular, very sort of thin sections, stuff like that. If you haven't played EVE Online, that reference will make no sense to you whatsoever. Regardless, let's get into the game. So we're just going to jump forwards past the loading screens.
Patriarch of all Split graciously offers to accept your capitulation. Surrender now, and your executions will be honorable and swift.
Told you our ship wasn't long for the world. Maybe they can just, buff it out. I'm sure that'll be fine. Anyway, we're stuck out here in our spacesuit, and pretty much nothing else. Did that just bounce off that other wreck? Yeah, I'm not going to cover that too much. Anyway, there is this whole expeditionary force of vessels here that just destroyed our ship, and we're stuck in a spacesuit. It says minimize movement to conserve oxygen, but we are going to be picked up, I think, by another ship very, very shortly who's going to try and search for survivors, basically.
Too much static. Scanners are useless. Can't lose more pilots. Keep looking.
Yes, and that's who's going to pick us up. So they're going to be our first captain of our first ship. It's not a very terribly good ship, I guess, but it gets us out of the void of space.
But warriors will find you. Survive or dishonor your family. Calm your battle rage to conserve oxygen. Pilot detected. You're almost there.
And there's our friendly ship. So we can go and dock. Tab in your spacesuit will just basically max out your thrusters to get yourself moving a little bit, and it's very much sort of passive thrusters in this mode. So we're just going to do that, and then I'm going to hit the stop key for basically stop all movement when we get outside the dock, and then just point towards the dock and press tab again.
You survived. Good. You are strong. They left us for dead. We make them pay for their arrogance. Take this ship and wreak vengeance.
Jaguar.
Okay. Most importantly, right now, it says destroy the expeditionary force. Don't try that. Please, please don't try that. You will die. There is no way for you to take care of them. You have one measly little gun over here, and it's basically saying, hey, hit travel mode, and you can go right for them if you wanted to. No. Just no. They're just not doable at this point in the game. So if you have a look at the map, you'll see one of 3 sectors that you start with, and there are lots and lots and lots more around actual here once we get them. Most important of which, if you haven't played X4 Foundations, or even if you have, know that these lines, these hexagonal lines, are not the outside of the sectors. They are simply the sort of outside of the initial part of the sector. If you head outwards, like in this northeast sort of direction, what will happen is everything inside the sector will start to shrink down inside these lines as you actually get further and further out. So everything will start to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, because these are actually much larger than they appear. So I'm really not near the edge at the moment, even though I look like I am. It's far out. All these lines are there to do is sort of delineate the different sectors. And to get between the sectors, you're going to go between jump gates, just like down here. And what I'm going to do is just basically head sort of this direction to right click and get started. And I'm just going to head that direction with travel mode. Travel mode is shift 1 by default. There's a scan mode, shift 2, and long range scan, shift 3. And I'm going to, once we've built up a little bit of speed, I'm going to shift into shift 3 mode and hold down R, let go, and then go back to shift 1. So that's going to scan ahead of us while we start traveling outwards from where we initially started. And you see there's bits and pieces around all over the place. Stuff starting to be picked up now. So unknown stations, and we're going to do a bit of exploration. But to get started, I'm going to head then over here a little bit. And we can just try and turn slowly, but that's not really very good. What we need to actually do really here is one of 2 things. First of all, press Control and space, and you will disengage your direction from the way you're traveling. So you can change attitude, your direction you're pointing, and basically fly sideways, and then control space, and you'll start to head in this direction now. Actually, steering while you're doing this, you can drag with the left mouse button, or you can press shift and space, and that will go into a direct flight mode that you can actually just drag with the mouse without holding down the left mouse button. Or you can press shift N to do direct steering directly, then there is no mouse cursor on screen at all. Entirely your choice which of those options you go for. For me, I'm not too concerned. I want to get towards this Stargate over here. Stargate, jump gate. It is pretty much Stargate. Go into long range scan mode, do a bit more scanning, and then we're just going to come to a little bit of slow halt near this Stargate, and we should get a cutscene at some point. Although I'm not sure if it's this side of this jump gate or not. It's been a couple of hours since I actually did this, and I can never remember which part of this it is. So I'm just going to head in a little bit closer, and let's see if anything happens. Is there anyone nearby? There are some missions available in this starting sector. I've not taken any for the moment, but we are going to need to get some starting capital fairly soon. If you have a look at the top left, I've only got 15,000 credits. That's not terribly much at all. Oh, there are some enemies. Yeah, recon fighters. And they are Xenon. That's not good. That's not good at all. So, yeah, are they going to be attacking me? They probably are. Yep, they are. Okay. I'm just going to head out of here a little bit. And get away from them. So I did a complete loop around the sector to actually pick up everything up. We've got 4 jump gates in here, so we're going to proceed through this bottom one, the first one we went to. It's not safe on the other side. I'm just going to go there to explore a little bit, and then we've got another one up here we can actually head to as well. There are missions available from some of these stations. I'm not taking any yet, but we will be doing so fairly soon for the money. So let's get a little bit close here. I don't want to go terribly fast through this gate, because I want to be able to turn around almost immediately. So, yeah. Yeah, so let's just bring ourselves to a halt around about here, and let's just head straight through the gate, and probably straight back through as well. So let's just take a look where we are. It's a Matrix number 9.
Entering system. Matrix.
Hey, I think I know where we are. I'm pretty sure those star patterns match the ones from the pre-shutdown gate maps. This is the way to the old Federation.
Okay, so this is the way back to the game as it existed in the first... Yep, and people are not terribly happy with each other right here, so... Yes. And it's in the middle of all this area. So ideally I'd do a little bit of scanning here and just get out of the way of the gate, do some scanning and see if we can find anything out here. And flying around completely in travel mode, nothing else. I'm just going to go straight through this next jump gate. You can see it right here. So I'm going to head right through, and you can see in this area there's only really the 2 jump gates. So yep, we're just going to go through and get to
Entering system matrix number 451.
Okay, matrix 451 it is. And let's slow ourselves down. We should still be pretty much in an enemy area. Yeah. So we're going to just go and scan this and see if I can find any other way out as well. And here you can see there's another jump gate directly below the first one. And let's head through it.
Entering system Yanamus Zura.
Okay. And that is definitely not a Xenon station, a Xenon system anyway, so we're probably more into a nice, friendlier territory rather than going through enemy territory here. So yeah, there's a couple of sort of systems you've got to go through, but then you're back towards the old game. And from that system, you can head straight into Bright Promise, which is taking us back to the sort of super highway from the original game, the vanilla game, if you want to think of it like that. So through there we go, and what we're going to do, just because it is a new game, whoops, I need to be not be in travel mode for this really. Let's bring ourselves out of travel mode and head up there. We're just going to take one of these 2, doesn't really much matter which one, and get on the highway. Yeah, this one will do. And this is going to take us on the highway, which we're going to stay there, and it's going to take us all the way around the central ring, at least if I remember correctly it is. Let me make sure that this isn't being influenced by me. Yeah, I need to just disable that. Yep, so I'm not trying to steer the ship away from the highway.
Trinity Sanctum.
And there we go. Back to the original ring. So you know now how to get through there. So from Bright Promise, if you're still playing in the original game as one of the save files, you need to go through Inamus Zura, through Matrix 451, through Matrix 9, and then right there is a jump into the sort of first split sector that you can then explore.
Entering system Pontifex's claim.
Now, if like me, you started on this particular start, those split sectors are not terribly friendly to you. They are your faction, but the opposite faction is in there as well, and they will try and kill you any chance they get every time you just stop to smell the roses, basically. So, as normal with most games I start in this, I would advise very heavily just head somewhere that is definitely friendly, like Argon Prime or somewhere like that, anywhere that's a capital of the various factions, like Trinity Sanctum would be perfectly fine for Paranid. Profit Center Alpha for the Teladi, etc. No problem with any of those. And go and look for an asteroid belt, and then go look for yourself for crystal farming. Now, if you aren't aware, if this is new to you, crystal farming...
Entering system. Second contact.
Second contact. Well, you can do it here, you know. Yeah, this is fine. Let's just get off the highway. Slow ourselves down. Crystal farming is basically just heading into an asteroid belt. Now, you might think, if you played EVE Online, for instance, that's a particularly boring way to start the game. I agree entirely. You don't want to head into asteroid belt for just ores. You're just going to head into the asteroid belt for crystals. Crystals appear on top of the asteroid, so if you just, use your key to remove your cockpit, you will just be able to fly through the asteroid belt. And what you're looking for is just sparkles on the asteroids. You'll see them every so often. Let me just bring ourselves out of travel mode. We're going a bit too fast to be able to see them. And see if we can find any, bring ourselves to a near halt. And what you just want to do is look at your screen as all the asteroids rotate, and eventually you will spot ones right there on the asteroid. Don't know if you saw it, but let me just accelerate and you'll see what I mean in a second. There's it is. And you're just going to head to it, you're going to shoot them, and then from that, you're going to just pick up whatever gets dropped. This happens to be a terrible one, but... Okay, and I can just pull down O. I can pull in There we go. The crystals. I'm just going to head over to the side a little bit and just basically destroy the rest of it. Let me just move in a little bit closer. And yeah, let's just make sure we get all of them. Hold down O. And we'll be able to sell those things at any station, really, any of the trading stations. So we're going to look for more of them. You don't really want purple. Whoa, too close, too close. You don't really want purple. You want other colors than purple, but it is the most common. So yeah, do bear in mind. But keep on looking for those, then take them to the station. Now to determine what they actually going to be selling for, if we just go into our inventory. You can see Bandonite Crystal, that's the purple one, only sell for 1,000 each. We only start with 15,000, so that may seem like a lot. It is not a lot in any way, shape or form. You actually want a lot more than that. So, off to Crystal Farm I go. Here's a little bit of a better example for us. Orange. Let's just go and shoot those. Okay, you'll see the actual cluster shatters itself when it's done, and yeah, there's bits and pieces. We don't really want any illegal stuff, at least at the moment. I don't want to take the chance. So go into your inventory. If it says unstable crystal, just click on drop all illegal items there. You know, you can keep them if you want to try and if you want to try them, but I don't. And we get Mitonine crystal, 14 of, and they are 20 grand each. Okay, so that gets us 280 grand. Now that is, in my opinion, much better. That's my Dropbox, by the way. That's much better than doing with your starting missions, which can pay around 40 grand or so. But it depends really where you're going to go and where you're going to explore. It's a very free and open game for that kind of thing. So I'm just going to go and sell up, I think. So let me just head to the Argon Wharf. Doesn't really much matter which one we go to, but I would like to get some upgrades to the ship. Mainly just the docking computers to make it more convenient, and we definitely want to save. So I'm going to head out that way, go into travel mode, and then we'll go and dock the horrible, slow, hard to position way that you have to do at the start of the game. Here we come. Let's slow down to a halt.
Argon Wharf.
Yep. Press Shift D.
Identifying criminal vessels.
Yep, that's not us. And it's basically allowing us to go in and dock. So let's just go and where the green dots are pointing. And it's going to tell us to dock here on the right-hand side. There we go. You can see where it's telling us to dock. And that's not too hard to do. We just have to line a lot of stuff up that I want to avoid longer term. So I always want to buy a docking computer pretty much first. And instead of having to do this, so line up, sort of roll, sort of line up position the way I'm pointing, and then we just go forwards a little bit to the right, and then until that marker comes in at the bottom into the middle of the two green arrows, and we then just go straight down. So as I said, not hard, but you just want to do that once or twice, and then yeah, let's just auto dock, or at least be able to have it guided for us. So from here, you'd think you press trade and you can just sell stuff. Well, you could if it's stuff the station bought. It's not really what the station that we're actually interested in. We're looking at to sell to someone else. So if we just head out to the ship and head over here, we should be able to go across the Trader's Corner. Yeah, hello, hello. Teleporter here, transporter room will get us over there. So Trader's Corner. There we go. And now we should be able to sell here, I think. Show me your wares.
There you go.
And can we sell here the crystals? Yeah, it looks like we can. So we can sell them all. Okay, that's the Bandonite. And the Mitonine crystals, we can sell all of those as well. And we'll come out of this with 348,000 credits. 348,000. Good.
Good luck.
Goodbye. Thanks very much. And when you're on the station, it's going to autosave, but you can press Shift D and you'll get transported straight back to your ship. And on board our ship, we're just going to want to then go into the upgrade and repair section. And if you took any damage, you're going to have to run to repair it. I haven't, but in that starting sector that you start in, you can take damage quite easily. So you can see we have Travel Mark II engines, and these engines are pretty good by default. 400 odd speed straight out of the gate with your ship, so no need to replace any of those. There are some consumables you may want to pick up, like resource probes. I'd recommend to take at least a few of those. 35,000. Some nav beacons, some satellites. Just so you can start to get live information about various stations, including here if you wanted to actually deploy one. Nothing really much else apart from that. Software, we want Docking Computer Mark II, definitely. You can go for some of these other stuff as well if you like. I'm going to take them for now because we can afford to. 112,000, that's quite a bit of an upgrade to get started, but I don't think the shields are going to be terribly good on this ship by default. Let's just take a look. Where are the shields? If we just compare it to the Argon shields, so by default we have 700. The Mark I Argon shields are 800, 1,000 and 1,400. So I want to make sure this ship is as protected as possible. So I'm going to up that as well and get some upgrades there. It would be nice if I mean, not that I particularly want the weapons, but do I only have one? Yeah, one at the moment. Pulse laser. What's the pulse laser like compared to ours? It's not great. Yeah, we don't want any of the others. Anyway, so that's fine. And I'm just going to add everything to the order, confirm the order, and it'll take a minute to upgrade. Once you do that, just go ahead and save the game. You may already have saved automatically, but go and create a specific save for this, because at this point at least you won't have to go through any of that again. Well, you may even want to do that as soon as you start the game. As soon as you start the game, if you go and dock somewhere, you can save, so you don't have any issues about getting destroyed accidentally when you run through that Xenon sector or two. Your choice entirely. So from here, I'm just going to save. I'm just going to overwrite maybe a test game that I had, which is probably going to be that one, maybe. Yeah. Let's just say overwrite this one. There we go. Overwrite. Yes. Okay. It's going to save. Then I'm going to get out of the station and then show you the difference for the docking computer between the one we just had to line up and the new one. So, undock. Okay, and let's just boost out with tab. Remember also that your shields are used as fuel for your boosting ability with tab, so you may want the upgrade to the shields just because of that. We can see now, if I press Shift D, it's basically going to say, hey, you want you to dock, and now we can go into this sort of slow motion treacle-like area, and just head straight towards the pad, and automatic docking. Isn't that nice? That's so much nicer than what you get to start. So, undock it is. We'll get out of here and probably head back over to where our starting area is. Let's just head this way. Yeah. So I'm going to get back on the highway, but I did want to cover a little bit. If you want to go to a wharf that is the split wharf instead of going across to the old world, if you like, or the Foundation's world, you're going to head sort of east and upwards from Tharka's Ravine. There is another, I think it's either in Tharka's Ravine or the next system to it, there is a wharf there. So if you want to get sort of upgrades from the split, and I just need to stop for a second, and if you want to get upgrades from the split, that's where you need to go for that. I just want to show you the link to the old world, just in case you're starting on an old save, or indeed you're starting on a new save. And at this point, I'm going to hold it there for this episode, because I want to see what you think about the game. If you've tried it yet, put comments down below, give tips and tricks, because no one has any clue, me either, about this game right now, as far as the expansion is concerned. If you've got any tips and tricks for what you've found so far, put them in the comments below. I'll certainly mention them if they are something that pops up before my next episode that I record. And also, really to hand it over to you, what kind of game should we be playing in the expansion? We've got a lot of different options. I could just go straight to, that's the wrong way. I could just go straight to doing missions, and we could go and look at those back over in the split sectors. They'd certainly be potentially new. Also, remember that the ZYA faction, was the ARC or whatever they're called, they are something we could get friendly with. I'm not sure if we can do that without the expense of losing faction with the free families, But we could get from wherever they are right now, -15 reputation, up to +20 or beyond, to try and get ships from them as well. Not quite so sure as far as that one's concerned. There are certainly going to be some story missions clearly between those two factions, but we need to, of course, find them. However, for the time being, we could just start with some random missions, and this is an issue that sometimes happens. It doesn't seem like it's traveling on the highway until you just sort of move away from it and then back onto it. Maybe that's me steering off it, but I don't think so. Let's boost back on. There we go. Okay, so I'll leave it there for this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Remember all the old things you got to remember as far as X4 Foundations is concerned, and we'll see you next episode for more of this. As always, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Feel free to click on the like, subscribe buttons down below if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. As always, thanks for watching.